Hello, fellow lovers of truth, wisdom, and courage. It's been a little while since my last video on either channel. I've been dealing with allergies, and that's never pleasant. Yeah, you see, some of us are allergic to this uncouth modern world. You learn a few things along your way. If you pay attention, of course, that's usually the most important qualifier right there. Buddhists call that awareness, and of course they've developed some wonderful techniques over the years to help with awareness and paying attention effectively, not letting your awareness perpetually dwell on the unceasing mind chatter of your ego mind driven beta mind. But there it is. Yes, it takes a long time to overcome that and to realize that you're actually in control of your ego mind, not the other way around, thereby making the tail wag the dog. But that's a whole different video. And I mentioned somewhere along the line, this channel and my main channel, Riff Margos, if you haven't checked it out, how especially as more people are being drawn into the online world and relying on online social media platforms for social interaction, drama is becoming an ever-increasing problem. And never more so than lately. And you get drawn into these things as you do, and if you actually stop right in the middle of this and actually begin to pay attention using that wonderful thing called awareness, you start to realize that the depth of effect on your energy bodies, you could usually feel it as a tension, as a weight around the chest and shoulder and head region, because of course those are the three energy chakras that are affected the most. And you could always tell how bad it is by and now if this bird can actually shut the fuck up for a moment, you can always tell the depth of it by doing some simple deep breathing. When you take that in breath and you hold it, and then when you slowly release through the mouth, you can tell the depth of the tension you're holding on to. So, of course, the aim of the game these days is to get everyone addicted to chaos energy and to bring people's energy vibrations down to a point where we're all mired into physical reality, low-level materialism and purchasing and drama and ego mind, of course, because the lower vibrational world are the realms of ego mind. Ego mind reigns supreme. Now, yes, it takes some serious work to raise one's energy vibration. It's a simple energy science, really, is what it is. I mean, I tried to explain this to a mindless atheist acquaintance. I won't say friend because he's really not. The kind of people who mindlessly parrot, what's his name, Richard Dawkins and Christopher Hitchens, and have no real thought of their own. Those kind of people. The kind of people who watch Matt Dillahunty and sort of realise, okay, these people are only obsessed with a small portion of reality. Which is kind of funny in itself, but, everyone's on their own path, and you do what you've got to do to grow and reach high levels of awareness and consciousness. But that's a whole different story. But you have so many people engaged in drama of all kind, and of course when you actually pause and start to detach, which I've happily been doing for the past few days, you realize how much, first of all, how much better you feel. And yes, excuse my squeaky chair. It's the same comfortable one I've had for 21 years. And you have the amazing awareness of rising. Actually, you begin feeling lighter because you're not weighed down by all these noxious, negatively impacting energies in your energy bodies. So that's a good thing. And then it's like detoxing from drugs or alcohol, really, where after a while, when you actually do go through the difficult withdrawal process, and you will, and you do, especially when you have people talking about drama stuff that you've been following for a while. And then when you engage with it again, primarily in my case, just earlier, to chat with some seriously cool people in the chat box. And as I was engaged in viewing this spectacle, for spectacle it is, I realised how much more detached from it I am, and how I really didn't care one little bit for it. And that's actually a good feeling. That's actually the beginning of freedom for yourself, because the huge, and I mean huge, amounts of chaos energy, of negative energies and sentient energies seeking more and more control of this world of ours, you realize how, first of all, how much you've been indulging in it for yourself, because of course the aim of the game with these various energies, call it illusion world, call it the Matrix, call it demiurge world, I don't really give a flying fuck, to be honest. It's really the same thing. The aim of that is to, and quote unquote them, is to keep us low and guilty and chained to the lower energy worlds, the energy vibration worlds, which are supposed to put it into really simple terms. The physical world and the immediately above the physical, the astral world, is actually the closest to that energy vibration of the hatred and the greed. And you see them all the time. You might even come across an ex during the week like I did, and the energy you feel is overpoweringly cold-hearted and mean. And the more aware you become, the more you realize how many people around you in your everyday world are actually enslaved and addicted to these energies. Because it takes courage, it takes energy to break out of this prison that we actually create for ourselves, because it couples two wonderful esoteric concepts, as above, so below. And of course I'll go into another video of that later. And the concept that mystics from all persuasions all over the world throughout the ages have all said the same thing: we create our own reality. And we really do, because reality begins as a thought body, a thought reality, and it sort of descends into the final manifestation being the physical world. Of course, wonderful people like Alan Watts and Thomas Sheridan to an extent, and mainly P. Hall and all these other wonderful people, and even people I actually know, like Savage Reality, will tell you about these different energy worlds, and how we actually have the power to free ourselves in our own individual lives, in our own sphere of influence, where we find ourselves right here and now. And really, that's what it's all about. No one can enslave you. No one can actually make you feel bad. You do that to yourself by reacting to another person's words and deeds. And yes, it takes a lot of work to fully break free of that. I've been doing I've been a happy student of the esoteric path for 21 years, well, more full on. And yeah, there's a lot to learn. There's a lot to do. You never stop learning. You never stop growing. It is a constant process. And so all those different things that you come across which impact you negatively, the important thing there to do is detach from it. Remove yourself from it. And replace it with more beneficial, with more wise content, if we're using the online media as an example, YouTube for example. Go off and watch good videos by Alan Watts. There's a hell of a lot of them out there. Thomas Sheridan and Manly P. Hall and some of these people. Try to steer away from too much of the Mark Passios and your David Icks and all this kind of stuff, because yes, they spend so much time making you aware of all the fuckery going on, but the thing is, you get affected by it. And really, when all is said and done, it's out there. You have no direct control over it. The only thing you have control over is your own life and your own sense of being and your own self-awareness. That's really the only things you control. And as the wonderful Buddhist would say, the first thing you can immediately control is your breath. Meditation, people, it helps me to deal with modern world customer service in 2019. So yeah, it takes effort, but it begins with you. It begins with a thought. For thought creates and becomes your reality. And just remember, to speak the truth is a very lonely yet awesome path.